on time, to keep in sync with everything else. First of all, I want to acknowledge the great work that Sabina Beitweiser, Chief Curator of Media and Performance, Martin Hartung, in the Department of Media and Performance Curatorial Assistant, did in organizing this great project, as well as the terrific staff on our audiovisual department that have been working tirelessly to make sure that this works perfectly, along with the staff of Christian Marclay and everybody else who was involved. I also want to thank Maya Hoffman and Hans Bodeman for supporting this installation, and most of all, Jill and Peter Krause for making this a promised gift. I can say without hesitation that when the clock first appeared, it was one of the most coveted works of art anywhere in the world, and we feel especially privileged that we'll not only be able to show it now, but to find a permanent home here at the Museum of Modern Art because of Jill and Peter. So, Christian, the clock.
Can you hear me? Yeah. No, you can't. Okay, good. More volume. All right, I have to speak up.
I want to begin with a few sort of simple technical questions, and then we can sort of spool into more interesting issues. The clock describes a 24-hour day through a series of film clips. How many thousands or hundreds or tens of thousands of clips are involved, and how long did it take you to actually produce the clock?
Okay. Well, it was a long process. It took me 3 years of actively editing every day. But 2 years prior to that, I thought of making the clock. But it took me 2 years to kind of find the energy to get started. The process is one of editing and collecting, of course. So I had the help of some assistants who would watch the films and collect the fragments and bring them to me, and I spent the whole time editing. So I wasn't involved in the selection of the fragments. I mean, they would follow my instructions. So the idea is not so much that I collected all this stuff and then put it together, but it's a constant process of editing, putting these pieces together, and then, you know, someone would bring me more footage and I would change things, and sometimes I would find a beautiful transition, but someone would later bring me a better fragment that I would have to introduce in there. So the trick was to find, of course, I was limited in the position of these fragments, but if you think of it, a minute is a long time. So within that minute, I could move things around. How many clips, I do not know, because through this process, which was very organic, no one ever counted the clips. Now once it was done and people, it seems to be like a question that is on people's mind. They really want to find out how many clips. After I was done with the project, I didn't want to sit there and count them or hire someone to go through them and figure out how many films, because sometimes the same film has different reference of time throughout the film. So to me, all that statistic is less important than the actual, you know, experience. The experience, and yeah.
So your work has often involved film and cinematic moments. What lies behind picking the idea of a day, or you can think of a day or a clock, time? Why did you want to tackle the problem of time?
I'm not quite sure what, you know, maybe it's an age thing. I'm very concerned about time going by. Ticking. But also, you know, cinema is very much about forgetting time. In cinema, time is compressed usually, or stretched, and it's never truthful in a way. And so once I had this idea, I thought, how interesting would it be to really kind of put back these fragments into real time. And so it's a totally different experience because suddenly you become an actor in this experience. You can identify with these people being stressed, and you think, okay, how much more time can I allow to be here? What's my next appointment? What do I have to do today? And so your life slowly kind of takes over and is competing with this thing. So I think that's what makes the piece so compelling, is that it's part of your life.
There's an interesting phenomenon that many of us are grappling with, which is the slipperiness between the virtual and the real, that there's so much access to digital information and digital content. We spend so much time imagining ourselves elsewhere and looking at material that isn't real. It doesn't exist in real time. That this work seems to me the ultimate exploration of that delta between the virtual and the real, because there's this kind of surprise that occurs, at least the first time you're in there, and you realize it's not real, but it's happening in real time. And were you thinking about these issues of virtual space and virtual time, and real space and real time, or is that sort of peripheral to what you were exploring?
I think it's true. We live in this mediatized environment, and we're all very much more conscious now than ever of the time. Every device that we look at will tell us what time it is. But yet we have access at all this past. Everything that's been recorded, documented, is sort of available at the click of a mouse. And so, that kind of tension between these two realities is definitely present in this piece. And everybody has access to this history and is reacting to it. It is the first time that we have access to so much information. So, hence the YouTube kind of phenomena where everybody's kind of making their little collages and everybody's referencing past events. So I think there's also the fact that technology that allows us to do it, to collect fragments and edit them together, is also totally available for anybody. So this piece, it may be monumental, but it was made on a home computer in a way, at a desk, and it's a very simple process in a way, tedious but simple.
I don't know if any of you have ever tried to edit a video clip on a home computer. It's not as easy as Christian is making it sound. I've been trying to do that for the last little while, to get the seamlessness that you've managed to produce. And of course, it's about pace as well. The transitions, seems to me, are actually what makes viewing the clock so compelling. It's not the moment that you catch time, it's actually the elision between moments.
Well, sound plays an enormous role in the piece, and for me, it is as much a sound piece as it is a visual piece. And in all my videos that use found footage, I try to use the sound and the visual as equal components, which is very different from cinema in a way where sounds get added in post-production. The found clip has a soundtrack that comes with it, and that's the sound. Now the magic is to try to use that sound as the glue, as the connecting element between these clips, and that helps a lot. And the sound gives you the illusion of continuity. It is the combination of both, of course, but the sound plays an important role in that. So that it's not just the music that's in those clips, but it might be a resonance. Right now in this space there's a big echo. Now if we cut to a scene in a living room with a lot of carpeting and curtains, it's going to be a totally different sound experience.